Hey guys, I wanted to talk with you today about kid meltdowns. This is a topic that has been really important to me because it's something I'm not very good at in terms of engaging with our kids when they have meltdowns. And I wanted to share some of the things that I've been learning because I feel like it could be helpful for those of you who feel like I do when you reach a meltdown with a child. So, a meltdown would be basically when a child kind of just what seems like a huge overreaction to something that you're like, this is not a big deal. Maybe they get a paper cut and then they throw themselves on the ground screaming. Maybe someone takes a toy from them and all of a sudden you think their world has completely ended. It's just these huge overreactions. And usually for me, what happens in these meltdowns is that I kind of shut down and I actually feel disconnected in that moment. I want to be anywhere but there. I don't want to be around a screaming kid. It just repulses me. It makes me feel repelled. I just don't want to be in this situation. And so oftentimes because of that, I have a hard time moving into this meltdown with my child. So I might tell them, you need to calm down. I want you to go to your room and calm down. And when you're calm, come back and we'll have a discussion about this. Or maybe I say something like, you're fine, like you're okay, it's just a paper cut, everything's fine. And I kind of diminish their feelings in that situation. I just noticed over time I couldn't meet them emotionally where they were at. And I didn't like how it made me feel. The way that I treated them in the meltdown, I didn't like that. And I kept doing it. And I couldn't figure out, how do I be there for them? I don't want them to feel like they can't have feelings. But I don't know how to handle myself. So I talked with our parent and life coach. Her name is Amy, and she's phenomenal. I love her. We've met with her ever since my oldest was 2, and we will talk to her about anything and everything dealing with parenting. And so I called her and was like, can you please help me through this? Like, how do I handle meltdowns in a healthy way? And so I'm going to share with you what she shared with me. And I don't do as eloquently of a job as she does, but I'm going to try my best to share what I've been learning. Also, if any of you would want to reach out to her because you're having a parenting struggle, I reach out to her probably every 3 to 4 months. Let me know. You can reach out to me and I can tell you more about who she is. Also, her contact info is in the description if you wanted to reach out and you have something you'd like to ask her about parenting. I've also created a PDF about this so that you can go and see this strategy in print. Some people are more visual instead of audio listeners. And so if you want to see the PDF, it's in the description that lists off how you can do the strategy for meltdowns. Okay. So another thing really quick, what I'm about to mention, moving into these meltdowns with kids, it can be really emotionally exhausting. And that's very normal if you feel tired. It's also very normal if this is difficult for you. Some of you might already be doing this in your parenting, and that's fantastic. And for those of you who are like me and it's really hard, just know that it's normal to start doing something like this and to be tired from it. Also, when you are changing your own behavior and you're responding to your kid in a new way, it might feel unnatural and it might also feel like you're acting. And that's okay. Over time, you're not going to feel like you're acting. You're going to feel like this is actually how you want to respond to your child. But in the meantime, you just kind of need to fake it till you make it, sort of. Not a big fan of that expression, but I think it kind of conveys what I'm trying to share, that it will eventually become how you want to interact with your child. Some other things that might make this difficult to engage with your kids. Maybe your blood sugar is low and you're cranky. Maybe you're really tired. Maybe you have your own emotional baggage that you're bringing to the table that makes it difficult to move into a meltdown with a child. All of those things are to be considered. Just know that if it's hard for you, that's totally normal. Okay, step 1, you want to push the pause button. Basically, you're going to attend to mindfulness. It's called mindful parenting. You're going to ask 2 questions. This will happen in a 2-second window inside of you. What's happening inside of me and what is happening inside of my child? You're going to be thinking through, why am I so irritated and annoyed in this moment right now? But acknowledge that. I'm irritated and annoyed right now. Okay, great. So we've acknowledged what's happening in you. We don't know why that's happening in you, and you can process that later. Right now in the moment with the meltdown, you can't process it, but I do encourage you to process that later, figure out what's going on inside of you. But in that moment, now at least you know, okay, I'm irritated. So it kind of helps you realize I don't want to bring my irritation into this meltdown also. And then when you look at what's happening inside of my child, one of the biggest pieces of helpful tips that Amy gave me, it is rarely ever what the child is bringing to you. When a child is melting down over the fact that their socks don't match, the issue is not the fact that their socks don't match. They can't tell you that. But what they're really saying when they're screaming is, I have so many emotions and I just need to feel connected to you right now. And that is what the child is saying. So if we as the adult can go, okay, the kid's screaming their head off about this, but I'm going to look past that and I'm going to realize what they need right now is to feel connected because they have a lot of emotions going on. So step 2, you're going to calm the child. The best way to do this is to name the emotion that they're feeling in a way that the child feels heard. So if they are they're just crying, they're so sad, you could go to them and maybe you're going to soothe and comfort them, put a hand on their back, maybe give them a hug or something. And you might say something like, you seem really sad right now. So I'm actually naming that emotion for them. You seem really sad right now. And you're empathizing. You're actually mirroring back the sadness in your tone, your face. You seem really sad, so that they feel like you are present with them. Step 3, you're going to connect with them. So this looks like you are listening actively. You're going to listen well and listen actively. So you might say something like, what are you really sad about? Can you tell me what you're sad about? Or why don't you tell me what happened? You seem really sad. And so now they're going to start talking and telling you. And while they're talking, you want to listen for the emotion and the feeling that they're having. And you also want to make sure that your mouth is zipped. Do not talk when they're talking. Don't interrupt them. Don't try and solve the problem. Let them talk and talk and talk. You just listen actively and well. And basically, you're going to help them connect the emotion that they're having to the content. So you might say something like, you seem really sad. Are you feeling sad because it sounds like your sister stole your toy from you? Is that why you're feeling sad? You're now connecting that emotion to the content. And basically, you're reflecting back your listening skills. And you are connecting with them with words and your presence. You're saying, I'm hearing this. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you're sad because your toy got stolen. And then you can kind of validate. That would be really sad. It makes sense why you're feeling that way. That makes sense why you feel that way. And then your child, after this, after step 3, I feel like my kids are like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. And they just feel like you connected. So then you can move to step 4. Which is where you communicate. This is the practical side of things. So this is where you're actually going to look for alternatives, you're going to evaluate consequences, and you're going to talk through a plan. And then you're going to follow up when appropriate. When you see your child doing that in the future, you see them enacting the plan that you talked about, you can actually call attention to it. Say something like, I noticed that you da-da-da-da. Wow, that was really great thinking that you implemented that plan. Like, tell me about it. How did it go? How did you feel about it? And what you're doing there is you're helping the child connect the dots in their experience, and you're helping them enjoy their experience and kind of the success that they're having with learning this new method of whatever it was you guys discussed. So those are all of the 4 steps. I'm going to list them off in the PDF in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This has been a huge help for me and my family. I don't do it near as enough as I would like, but when I do it, I see that my kids really do feel connected, and it kind of brings these meltdowns down to where they're manageable and we can talk through like the actual practical side of things. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you have a great day. Thanks.